Hey, good morning, everybody. John Millen here with Benefit Hackers. Cold day here. Today, I have a special guest speaker with me. We're driving in the car, and the special speaker is Laura Millen. Laura is the Senior Managing Partner of PPG Benefit Solutions, our company. She started the company 18 years ago from a CPA background, started with no clients, no real sales background. She jokes that she's a recovering CPA, but she started the company selling a singular product into the employee benefit market 18 years ago. She actually started the business right about 10 days, 11 days before 9/11 hit. What a bad timing on that. But she has now, over the period of 18 years, created a business that is going to do well over $4 million in sales this year, 6 employees, 140 corporate accounts. So Laura, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
So this is a little bit impromptu. Laura's looking at me like, oh, what have you gotten me into? But I thought it would be kind of good just to, off the cuff, ask you a couple questions.
Okay.
So typically the business owners that we work with, or human resource managers, or CFOs, right? Presidents,
right,
even office managers, anyone that manages the employee benefits package or influences that is kind of our core audience. And so that's what this podcast is geared towards. And so what I want to do is ask you a couple just sort of random questions. First question, Laura. When you first meet with a business owner or decision maker, let's call it, on that first introductory visit, right? You don't know what they need. They don't know really what we do. They sort of know. What's the thing that's most surprising to you?
The most surprising?
Yeah.
Well, business owners, especially ones that have under 100 employees, their employees do a lot. Usually wear multiple hats, and the business owner had to do that to start out with as a solopreneur, and then eventually brings on some people to support them. And over the years, those people start out doing one thing, but then as the business grows, they have to do other things. So most of the time, they know that they want to grow their business. They know that their people are the most important asset to their business, but they don't always know how to do it or how to find the right benefits and what to spend on those benefits. So when you say surprising, that part's not that surprising. It is surprising to me, though, how underserved these smaller businesses have been over the years in terms of providing employee benefits. They really don't have the knowledge and the advisors that they should have been having over these years, and that's an area that I felt like we could help improve on.
Oh, cool. So they're getting stretched thin, and they're doing what they can, and so that's an area of that you can solve as part of your business.
We partner,
toolbox.
right? We partner with them and become an extension of their HR department, an extension of their business. And oftentimes I have really in-depth conversations with the business owners about how I've been growing my business, how they've grown their business, and we have an exchange of great ideas.
Awesome. So one thing I've noticed, and tell me, business owners, or I keep saying business owners, but just so you guys know, it's CFO, HR, they tend to have a lot of pride in what they've done. And so sometimes I find that they're very proud and they don't want to admit sometimes that things aren't working great. How do you feel your background as a business owner opens up that dialogue better than maybe someone else might?
That's a great question because, we have expertise. We provide expertise through the lens of empathy, meaning I've been in their shoes before. I know, you have to be strong. You have to be confident in yourself. You have to believe that what you're doing is the right thing. And, you bring advisors around you to take advice from, to get good information from. And you don't want to admit that maybe, sometimes it might be just that you've outgrown those advisors, those advisors were wearing multiple hats for you, rather than you going to the experts on, additional subjects, such as health insurance. It's not an easy insurance to understand. It's constantly changing. A lot of times they'll ask their property and casualty insurance agent to also take on their health insurance plans, and that's very common. But it doesn't have to be that way. And I think once they understand that they can get that kind of expertise from other business owners like us who've been in their shoes, they open up. They
Gotcha.
start to be open-minded.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's I mean, every person has their expertise and area of competence. But you said something that you look at it through a lens of
an expertise through the lens of empathy.
So explain that. What does that mean?
Well, I'm empathetic because I've been there before. And because, I've done this for 18 years, I also have a foundation of accounting. I run my own business. I, follow the profit and loss of my own business. Employees and benefits are a big part of our budget as well. I empathize with the fact that, you want to provide great things to your employees, but you also can't break the bank. You have to have, the money there. So I provide that expertise from my experience as a business owner, and then provide it through a lens of empathy.
Well, that's good. I've not heard that before. That's very unique. Okay, so another question is, when it comes to benefits, one thing I've seen is that you have the cost component of buying benefits, right? The expense of it, and then you have the coverage that you get with the benefit package. So you have the impact to the employees with their coverage, but you also have to balance it. Tell me about that balance, and do you weigh heavily on cost control, on benefit? Because a lot of people are looking to save money. So how do you weigh those differences?
Oh, absolutely. The way that we approach things is that there's two people that need to be satisfied in the decision. Number one, the person who holds the purse strings, who is going to be parting with the money, making that financial decision. So we call that the CFO mind. And then there's also the HR or the office manager, the people that are really in tune with the employees day to day. They know their struggles, they know, their families. And so you want to, also protect them as well. So we're careful to always bring not only cost savings, but and then sometimes we don't bring cost savings. We bring, a flat renewal. But we've improved the benefits. So we make sure that people understand that by redesigning their health plan the way we do, it's good for the employer and good for the employees.
Yeah, it's definitely a balancing act, and different personalities will veer maybe towards one side of the coin or the other. That's excellent. So another question is, you said the industry is changing a lot, which it is. A lot of industries are changing all the time. Looking out into the future, I know you can't predict the future, but you've probably learned some things today that you didn't think the same way 5 years ago, right? Or even 3 years ago. What has made you a better advisor? Because there's lots of people that we meet that have been in the business 10, 20, 30, 40 years. What is it about you that makes Bob, right? What is it about? What do you think you do maybe differently, uniquely, rather than saying I've been doing it for 18 years and someone says, well, I've been doing it for 38 years.
Good point. I think the fact that we look at things from a different lens, we look outside the box. We're about redesigning and finding solutions. I've had to, because I started out not providing core benefits, but providing supplemental benefits to employees, I always had to be creative and help them understand how those supplemental benefits were, there was more value to them than the money that they were exchanging for that. So I bring that focus from that into this perspective. And what I found is that over the years, I have noticed deductibles going up, costs continuing to go up with medical plans, brokers bringing kind of the same old, and I've tried them all. I did the high deductible health plan, put money in an HSA. It was great while we were saving money. But all it took was 1 year that I spent in the hospital. It was bed rest for, delivery of my twins. And, that went from July of one year to February of the next year, I had to meet 2 deductibles, and they were $7,500 a piece. And so instantly my HSA was wiped out. So I realized, okay, that's not necessarily good for everybody. Some people can't put that money away. But even if you can, it can be instantly wiped out. So I really learned the value of using insurance to leverage. $1 of insurance can actually provide 20, 40, 60% of insurance dollars to help soften the blow when there is an unexpected accident or illness. You can be the healthiest person and still trip down the stairs and break an ankle.
That's true.
So I think over the years we've tried different things. I personally provide these same sort of benefits to my employees. I've experienced them myself. I think they're a great way to go. And so far, my clients have been really, really happy with the sense of security that it provides to their families.
Awesome. Okay, final question. We're 10 minutes in, 11 minutes in. So we see a lot of silver bullet syndrome, and it's natural, meaning you see something that comes into the marketplace. It's like, oh, that's the shiny object, the silver bullet that's going to fix things or fix a thing. And it's natural in an industry like insurance that is fairly conservative the way it's designed, right? Insurance isn't technology. So what have you, so there's silver bullets like you mentioned HSAs. Several years ago, it seemed like every single advisor, every company was regurgitating the HSA model. And not that you're not against HSAs. We're not against HSAs, but it seemed like the whole industry swung the pendulum. Tell me a little bit about this silver bullet. Like, how do you fight against that when maybe you sense that it's not the right fit, or how do you work with it when you see it as a good fit? Because there's new ideas all the time.
Absolutely. I believe in giving people choices. And I look at the demographics of the company, look at the demographics and pay scale of the employees to see, can they really afford to be putting money away in an HSA and self-funding those larger expenses. I like to look 5 years down the road. Don't just take a snapshot of today and say, oh, this is how to reduce your cost for today. You really need to look at, if you were to continue taking the 12% average increases in your healthcare plan over the years. I mean, nobody gets a 12% increase in their rate, in their pay.
Right.
So if you were to continue to take that, it's going to be coming out of the business owner's pocket, and then of course out of the employees. So look 5 years down the road. What will this change do for you 5 years down the road? Getting into a self-funded benefit plan, medical plan, and then getting a refund of premium later on down the road. That sounds great, but really it's just a return of the premium that you've overpaid in the first place, and you are fully taking on all of the risk. So I believe in trying to find alternatives. I don't believe there should be too many choices because employees get a little paralyzed by that. But once you do find one or two options, I believe the benefits counseling is a very important part of whatever change you make. Employees need to spend, give them an hour and a half, a year to decide on one of the most important things to protect their finances and their family. Because when something happens that's severe, that's when they're really going to figure out whether they made a good choice or not. And some counseling, at the beginning can really help with that. So I think if you say there's any silver bullet, in my opinion, the silver bullet really is that benefits counseling should go along with any kind of changes, or even when there's no changes, people need to understand what they're paying for.
Awesome. Hey, great stuff. We're going to cut it here at 14 minutes, 28 seconds. Thanks, Laura, for that great insight. And if you guys have any questions or want any help in any way, you can check us out at hackmybenefits.com. It's a little form on there. You just go there and fill it out. It'll come to me, and no obligation. It's just it says, hey, we want to chat. Maybe there's some things we can help you with. Maybe you just want a second opinion. A lot of people I find, Laura, that they feel bad about getting a second opinion. I'm like, look, when you buy a set of tires that's $895, you don't just go to Goodyear. You call Costco, you call Goodyear, you call Michelin. You go, hey, well, okay, why is it when you spend $500,000 in healthcare that you're afraid to have anyone else give a little peek at it? So that's what we can do. Hope this can help you. You guys have a great day.